We're going to spend just a couple of minutes here looking at editing signatures and a couple of real-world tips for you. And one I want to give you before we start this particular lab is that I've noticed with CCP that when you make changes in this particular section, for whatever reason, once the commands are delivered, it's going to look just the same as everything else we've done with CCP. It's going to say, here are the commands you want to deliver. Do you want to deliver them? Do you want to save them to file? Do you want to cancel? You click deliver and you get the little scroll bar going from side to side and they get written. But I've noticed the software hangs there for about 15 to 30 seconds after you do that. Then everything comes up and it's fine. But just a real world tip there in case it happens to us here or you in the real world. When it comes to these signatures, we know we're going to have to do some kind of editing sooner or later. And we may actually find ourselves deleting some of these signatures. What we'll most likely be doing is just doing some editing. And what you can do here, if you needed to delete one, you could just highlight it, click delete, and you can see the commands here. It's going to make a change, and of course these are the backup signatures found in Flash, so it's going to write there. We're going to go ahead and cancel that because I don't want to delete it. And this is actually what I was talking about right here. I bet this takes about 30 seconds to come back up. If it does, I'm just going to pause the video, which I'll go ahead and do now. And we're back. That just took actually about 15 or 20 seconds, but it's really odd. I've only noticed it in the IPS section. So we could delete a file there or signature, we know that. And with editing, what I like to do, and what you will probably do most likely in the real world, is either change the severity, high informational, low and medium, or change the actions taken. There's also a restore defaults if you want to go all the way with that. Let's talk about these assigning actions for a minute, because what you see here may be a little different from one router to the next. But what you'll always see is some variation of alarm, deny the attacker inline, deny the flow inline, drop the packet, or reset. And here we mean reset the TCP connection. So again, it's just something we have to get used to as admins. You're not always going to see the exact same description, but those are the 5 basic actions that can be taken. Now, my first question when I saw this was, what's the real difference between deny attacker inline and deny flow inline? The difference is that deny attacker inline denies the source IP address of the offending packets entirely. And this action is carried out because it's going to the router will create a dynamic ACL and make a dynamic entry in it, and it's going to block that particular source IP address. Deny flow inline means that you're blocking that specifically offending flow of traffic, but it still allows other connections from the source. So one is just a little more drastic than the other. Let's just go ahead and say we're going to reset the connection and sound an alarm. And we're going to click OK for that, and you'll see a couple of changes here in the window. The first one, you'll notice alarm and reset are now the actions, and I'm sure you know what this is from the timing of it, because it's not much of an explanation up here. It's an exclamation point. Whenever you see this little yellow circle with a minus sign in it, that just means that you have unsaved changes. That's all there is to it. So you can just click apply changes. Also, if you try to leave the edit IPS window without saving your changes, you're going to get a prompt that comes up that says, hey, wait a minute, you've got unsaved changes. Do you want to apply them? Do you want to discard them? What do you want to do? So really, as far as signature editing, that's all there is to it. Very self-explanatory stuff. Like I said, you can edit one up here as well. Let me show you if you edit from here. And here you've got more values that you can change if you go with editing here. And I would think you'll really see more of this in your CCNP security studies as far as changing the intervals, that kind of thing. But it's good to note what these symbols mean. Parameter uses the default value. Click the icon to edit the value. That's what happens if you have a green square. If you have a red diamond, that means that the parameter is using a defined value, and you can click the icon to restore the default. So if someone, even you, has gone in and changed a couple things on the signature and saying, I wish I hadn't done that, but I don't remember what the defaults are, you don't even have to look them up. Just click the icon, and it's going to put your default values back in there. And there are the event actions that we expect to see as well. So that's what you're going to see if you edit it that way. Like I said, a lot of times you're just going to right click it and either change the actions or change the severity. And here you've got all categories. If you just wanted to look at your IM signatures, you could look here, your adware, spyware, viruses, etc. And again, this is the built-in signature. This is the backup file. But again, there's a good amount of signatures there to get started with, certainly. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and hit Apply Changes here. And that's where you'll see signature delivery status, delivering SDF to router. Same thing, and it's going to stop eventually. You can see now it's saving it to flash. And you get a very quick message. At first, when I started seeing that, I thought, am I doing something to make that go away so fast? What it's doing is saying, please wait until all of these changes have been applied and the IPS has reflected your changes. So what I'm going to do here is stop the recording. That will come up probably in about 15 or 30 seconds. I'm going to stop here, and then in the very next video, we're going to take a quick look at the monitor window, and I'm also going to, after that, remember when I mentioned that some things look a little different from one router to the next in CCP? I'm going to show you another set of choices you may see for the signature files on another router that we've got here in the workspace. So we've got about 2 more videos here, and then we'll move on. There you go. And now our changes have been saved. You see that the little exclamation point is gone, and Apply Changes is no longer enabled. So in the next one, we'll take a quick look at the security dashboard, and I'll see you there.